My husband, Josh, and I, we have 3 beautiful girls. When we realized we couldn't conceive, I was already working at the Bayit and showed up to shul every day, trying to put a smile on my face. But those months were long and those days were hard. We began to see an infertility specialist who ordered a battery of tests on me, not Josh, to make sure that my body was healthy. After one of the tests went awry, I landed up in the hospital for emergency exploratory surgery to make sure that the test to check that my healthy fallopian tubes had not in fact been compromised and destroyed them. And it was at the ER, where thank God everything turned out to be okay, that I met my infertility specialist, who I'll be forever grateful to for helping us conceive. Under her care, she quickly put a plan in place. The likelihood, it turned out, of us falling pregnant without IVF and ICSI, a procedure of placing the sperm directly inside the egg, was statistically very unlikely. And so began the long and painful process. I decided to tell my friends and family about our struggles. I realized that I would want those same people to comfort me if the procedures did not work. We implanted 2 embryos and froze 1. I was lucky to get pregnant on my first try, but the progesterone shots made me very ill. I spent days and weeks on end in the hospital trying to retain any fluids and calories so that my babies could grow. At 37.5 weeks, although I'd lost 20 pounds, I delivered 2 healthy babies, and I felt joy and gratitude to wake up, feed, and nourish them every day and every night. 3 years later, I went back to my doctor. She explained that it was statistically very unlikely for us to fall pregnant with a single frozen embryo. She wanted me to begin with a new IVF cycle. But we decided we would have nothing to lose. And so I switched practices, transferred my embryo to another hospital, and miraculously fell pregnant again. After another very difficult pregnancy, I once again was blessed with a boy, with Davidi. With no more embryos left, we felt our family was complete. And yet I did yearn for another child. I didn't feel I had the strength or resources to go through IVF again. So I began to research adoption and went to several seminars to learn about international and national adoption. It's an uphill battle. And so I looked at my lively brew and my fulfilling career in 39, and I settled into our blessed lives. And then just a few weeks ago, I realized that my period was late. I ignored the nausea and went on with my day, but at Josh's prodding, I bought a pregnancy test. I resisted at first because of the trauma of taking countless tests and seeing the negative sign over and over and over again. I couldn't stand being disappointed again. I brought the test home, and when I saw the plus sign, I didn't believe it. We bought another package and another one and tried again and again for the next few days, and each test indeed was positive. It wasn't until I saw the embryo growing that I would allow myself to believe that we had conceived unexpectedly and naturally. I'm now in my 2nd trimester, and like many, I live in fear that something could still happen and this pregnancy could still end. And at the same time, Josh and I are still walking around in disbelief, feeling very blessed. This is my story, and I tell it now because I want those who are here to know that I've cried myself through my own journey, and I've cried with many people in the Bayit, in our community, in our extended community, and continue to hold your pain and stories as well. But this is actually the first time I've ever told my story publicly. And I'm doing it tonight because I'm following along with my colleagues, the panelists I sat with a month ago, who broke their silence and stood up and told their stories. And as some of the panelists will do so tonight, one of the priorities of bringing us together is to create an opening to tell our stories. When the Torah says Puravu, we come together and we celebrate the fertility and the multiplicity of children. We celebrate those joys and highs, and we'll continue as a community to come together and do that. But now it's time to come together as a community and pour our resources into three following ideas. One is normalizing this pervasive phenomenon of infertility and pregnancy loss. Two, to sensitize our community how to support, not hurt, those who are struggling. And three, to offer ways we can each help. Tonight, we'll continue to tell stories. And I recognize that so many of you come here tonight with your own unique, diverse, and personal stories about adoption, about ectopic pregnancies, about first or second infertility, early and late pregnancy loss. Those who aren't really ready yet to be parents, and those who have hopes and dreams, and lost hopes and dreams. But the goal of tonight is to break open, bring to the forefront some of the ways we can confront loss. And we're going to do so and think about how we can confront loss through our tradition, through text. We're going to look at ritual, and we're going to look at medical, religious, and emotional support. And each of our panelists will direct our attention through one of those lenses. So first, we will hear from Dr. Erin Lieb-Smokler, who will share with us not only her own journey, but also some text and with a lens of our Jewish tradition of how to confront loss. We'll then hear from Maharat Dasi Fruchter, who works, as well as just graduated from Yeshivat Maharat, also works at Immerse NYC, and will bring to the forefront some rituals and ways we can think about confronting loss through ritual. And then Dr. Amy Barron, who will also share parts of her story, as well as share medical, emotional, and religious support. Each of these women, I have so much gratitude towards. I didn't go through their bios. Their bios are on your chair, but suffice it to say, they come with many accolades, and each of them have a title in front of their name, which they've each earned in various ways. I'm thrilled to have such a wonderful Yeshivat Maharat presence with Dr. Erin Lieb-Smokler being on our faculty as our Director of Spiritual Development, and as I said, Dasi just graduating this year. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to call each panelist up to present for about 10 minutes or so, and then we will open up for questions, and we'll hopefully have a conversation, again, focused on bringing to the forefront resources. On that note, I just want to mention that I was very inspired a few months ago when Naomi Less, who has her own infertility struggle, created an Eli talk, an Eli talk, how do you pronounce it, ELI talk. I'd hoped to show it tonight, but the truth is it's rather long. It's just 15 minutes, and it's a worthy 15 minutes of your time. And the reason why I wanted to show it to you is because I want us to understand that this is a communal conversation that's not going on locally only in our bayit, but is also happening in the Jewish community at large. And the community is waking up and realizing that we need to think about pouring in our dollars, our resources into confronting this really pervasive issue of helping people create families.